Friends, we are comparing setting powders today. Givenchy's Prism Libra 4-color pressed powder and Prada Beauty's Reset Rebalancing setting pressed powder. All pressed powders. That was the winning video topic from my recent poll I posted on my community board, but not to worry, I will not abandon my other video ideas. They are on deck and I'll film in order priority based on your votes. And if it's your first time here, hi, I'm Alicia, and on my channel I review beauty products, share makeup tutorials, and also share lifestyle modification because I am an online coach. So if any of that interests you, perhaps consider subscribing and click that notification bell so you'll be alerted of those uploads, whether it be beauty or working out at the gym. The way I wanted to conduct this video is present each powder individually, just lay out the details, what are their benefits and characteristics, and then I'll compare and contrast. I also have B-roll of me applying each powder, Prada on one side, Givenchy on the other. It might be hard to decipher the differences on camera as I tried to adjust the lighting to the best of my ability, but I'll make sure to outline the differences that I feel and experience so you have a better idea of what to expect. Also, before we get into the individual products, skin condition. I do have normal to dry skin. I'm not a regular skincare user. I consider myself to be a skincare minimalist where I don't use dedicated moisturizers and serums and such. I basically just wash my face, especially if I have makeup on it, with a dedicated makeup removing cleanser, and then I slap on Vaseline. I know, so hard, but that's what I've been doing for the last few years. Of course, I would apply moisturizer before makeup as prep, but that's the extent of it. So just so you have an idea of where my skin sits. I did apply Prada's foundation today and might not have been the greatest choice to demonstrate these two pressed powders, but because my allergies have been killing me, I don't think I could have withstand the Givenchy Prism Libra Glow Serum Foundation perfume. If this was outside of allergy season, I would have been fine, but I'm able to tolerate Prada's Reveal Skin fragrance a lot better. I applied shade MN6C, and then I applied Gucci's concealer in 38N right after. So let's start with Prada Beauty's Reset Rebalancing Setting Powder. Instantly delivers a mattified soft focus effect on the skin. This refillable luxe face setting powder helps minimize appearance of shine. The weightless hybrid texture stays breathable while minimizing the appearance of pores and extending the wear of makeup. Prada Reset's iconic Prada green color becomes transparent on skin for a seamless look. The plant-derived squalene infused formula in Prada Reset helps make the skin feel fresh, comfortable, and looks moisturized over time. That was from the Prada Beauty product page, and in addition to that description, they also have benefit highlights, all of which include suitable for all skin tones and skin types, sweat-proof, no white cast, no ashy finish, breathable, mattifies the skin to help minimize shine, and it is refillable. As you probably saw from the footage while reading, yes, the insert is refillable. If you already have the compact from buying an eyeshadow quad, then you only have to purchase the pan, which retails for $60, but the entire unit, compact and pan insert, retails for $90. The difference right off the bat is the price. The Prada Reset Rebalancing Setting Powder is more expensive than the Givenchy. And speaking of, let's hop right to it. The Givenchy Prism Libra 4-color pressed powder, mattifying and blurring setting powder, ultra blurring, mattifying, and color correcting 4-color pressed powder for an all-day natural wear. $59 for the compact, the brush, the powder, and this comes in 7 shades, as opposed to Prada's just one universal shade. Universal. This non-drying 4-color pressed powder is said to provide all-day natural matte wear, all-day preserved hydration, instantly blurs imperfection, 4 colors to correct and unify complexion, weightless formula, bare skin sensation, resist caking and creasing on the skin, 7 inclusive harmonies designed for all skin tones, integrated brush and mirror for touch-ups, dermatologically tested and non-comedogenic. With an all-day a natural matte finish combined with a non-drying formula, the Shine Control Powder refines pores, appearance, and blurs imperfections for visibly smooth skin and a flawless matte complexion. The 4 colors, it is inspired by the science of color correction. The combination of 4 complementary color harmonizes the complexion and evens out the skin tone. Color irregularities are neutralized. Now, here's my personal experience with each. You saw in the demo for the Prada Reset that the texture is like a hybrid formula. It feels creamy in the pan and then swatches like a powder cream formula, but on the skin it looks like a powder, or rather applies like one. And when I first tried this powder, which by the way released last year, Givenchy's pressed powder released recently this year, like a week ago. What I admire about the powder is the hybrid texture and how it does manage to not feel like a powder on my skin. It does have this creaminess to it, not only in feel, but also in application that feels weightless at the same time. And it does have that blurring soft focus effect. Now, the shortcomings are the obvious ones: the price, $90 for both compact and pan insert, and the fact that there's only one color. Despite Prada Beauty's claims in their iconic green color being universal for all skin tones, that might not be completely true. I'm sure there's a skin tone that might not benefit from the mint green, although it can, and I'm sure it does, hit a wide spectrum of skin tones. But you're not going to be as comprehensive as a pressed powder that offers 7 different colorways with 4 color correcting shades in each pan. I think that is the standout difference for me. The Prada Beauty is more expensive, comes in 1 color. The Givenchy is $59, less expensive, and offers 7, with the pressed powder each having 4 color correcting hues. That's just gonna hit a broader spectrum of complexion and undertones. If that is a concern for you, meaning you like the Prada Beauty in terms of concept, like these hybrid textures that are cream to powder, ultra soft on the skin, which by the way, the texture from the Prada Beauty is remarkable. It's like a creamy velvet consistency that doesn't feel like a powder. Now in the demo, I used a goat hair brush that will naturally pick up more than a squirrel hair brush, but I chose that brush deliberately because the cream to powder texture has a little more to grab, and I felt the squirrel hairbrush would have just been a little too delicate for that consistency, whereas with the Givenchy powder, it being a truer powder product, I felt more comfortable, although I didn't do it in this demo, using a squirrel hairbrush or a goat hair brush. A goat hair brush naturally will pick up more of the Givenchy powder because the bristle is stronger, and with that powder texture, it's gonna grab more from the pan, as opposed to a squirrel hair brush. The more delicate bristle will not pick up as much product and will not lay it down as heavy as a goat hair brush would. So those are some considerations. Now, in terms of which is more blurring, which is more mattifying, I believe the Givenchy is going to be more mattifying because a truer powder product is just going to absorb more oil and just have those controlling properties and perform them better than a creamy hybrid product. I think it is impressive that a texture like the Prada Beauty Reset Rebalancing Powder, despite its creamy texture, can achieve mattifying results, but again, with limitations depending on your skin's condition. If you are super oily, I think the Prada Beauty would be a pleasure to use, but it might not be a practical choice if you're looking for a product to combat oil and sweat throughout the entire day. Even though one of the benefits said outlined on the product page read sweat proof, again, because of that hybrid texture, I don't know how I would predict the outcome of one's skin or one's face by the end of the day, because naturally with those conditions, I would recommend Givenchy's pressed powder, because to me, a truer powder formula it's just going to do a better job absorbing excess oil and combating sweat on the complexion. And they're both fragranced, by the way. Givenchy is a little more fragranced in my opinion. Prada Beauty is fragranced, but it's not as perfume-y, if that makes any sense. The Prada Beauty scent profile in general has more of a skincare, because you could argue that luxury skincare can be super perfumey, like Chanel. But the Prada Beauty scent is more intermediate, in my opinion, because yes, there is a fragrance there, but it's not as flowery as Givenchy. So that might be a consideration for you to make. If you like the Givenchy, in terms of it being more appealing to you because it is more of a powder formula, it has the 4 color correcting shades in there, but you cannot withstand the smell, that might be a no for you. So that is something to consider. My personal favorite is hard to say. It's hard to say. And what I was also referring to in the beginning, where I thought that applying this Prada foundation wasn't a good idea because it is a matte foundation, although a flexible matte, if that makes any sense. Compared to the Gucci foundation, which I have a sample of, not an entire bottle of, that's matte, as well as the Burberry foundation, matte. Prada foundation is more matte than the Givenchy, but like I said, couldn't take the Givenchy foundation smell today because allergies are on one. But despite that, the Prada foundation, I think, welcomes a setting powder, but this is where the crossover happens for me. The Prada Beauty is going to be outstanding in delivering mattifying results without looking dry, dull on the skin. And even though it is this cream to powder hybrid, it won't look artificial either. It will still appear weightless and skin-like in finish. Same thing with the Givenchy, I have to say. Blurring, weightless, mattifying. The texture of my skin is incredibly soft, despite me applying a matte foundation as well as a more matte-like concealer, because the Gucci concealer is self-setting in some aspects. Still does not look dry under the eyes, and neither the mint green or the color correcting from the Givenchy disrupted the color of my concealer or the Prada foundation. Now, although the mint color is said to be universal, be careful because this powder is meant to be applied lightly, not to pack on, because I had the pleasure of trying this powder for the first time at a Bloomingdale's counter, and my apologies for not remembering the artist's name who was working at the counter at that time, but he insisted on demonstrating how beautiful the powder is by applying a lot. And I know sometimes reps can be a little aggressive. It's like, this is so good, let me show you. But he applied so much that when I saw myself in the bathroom mirror upon returning home, it did look a little green. It 100% did. So be wary of the fact that if you put on too much of the Prada, you could run the risk of looking a little green under the eyes. Not toad green, but it could appear ashy, 100%, especially if you are on the darker part of the spectrum in terms of skin tones. If you pack on the Prada Beauty, it's going to show up a little ashy, 100%. Whereas if you pack on a Givenchy powder color in your skin tone range, that probably won't happen. Now, here's my bias. I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm partial to Prada Beauty because it is by far one of my most favorite luxury brands, just right off the bat. I adore Givenchy too, okay? I'm a recent subscriber to Givenchy Beauty. I have the Glow Serum Foundation, 3 of their loose blushes, 1 of their eyeshadow palettes, and of course, now their pressed powder. For Prada Beauty, I have the foundation, a ton of their lipsticks. Oh, I also have a Givenchy lipstick. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. The Reset Rebalancing Powder, and now I own, I think, a total of 6 of their eye quad. Lord help me. As well as their liners and the mascara, Prada Scope. Best mascara I've ever tried in my entire life. I actually have the Prada liner on today in the shade Wood. Love it to death. So that's why I lean more towards the Prada powder, but also recognizing its shortcomings, right? The shortcomings is the price, the fact that it only comes in one shade, a mint green that I understand might not do well for everyone, and the creamy hybrid texture that's not going to be, in my opinion, as long lasting as the powder formula from Givenchy. I just wanted to put that out there because it doesn't matter what I like. I want it to be neutral as best as I could when presenting differences, but I also wanted to highlight the characteristics that might be make or break for you. Again, the price, shade availability, looking at one shade as opposed to 7. The Givenchy compact comes with a brush. The Prada compact does not. Do you like this design more or do you like this design more? They both look pretty luxe, but there's something about the shiny chrome that, although looks more beautiful, is more susceptible to damage. And that's my fault because the Prada beauty counter at Nordstrom, Cynthia, was nice enough to give me these faux material sleeves just to protect the compact from the nicks they are naturally subject to when thrown in the makeup bag, which this can be roughed up too, but not as much. You can't see it as much on the black as you can on the silver. But I think one of the traits that people will be most turned off by, despite how beautiful this powder is the fragrance, to be honest. Because sometimes you might love a powder, the concept behind it, you might even try it on and adore how it looks on your skin, but you're like, I can't take this, it's gonna kill me. So that is what I would put up as a major consideration, that there is perfume in the Givenchy as well as the Prada, but the Prada is not as aggressive in scent than the Givenchy is. On my skin, I will have to give it to the Givenchy by a hair, because again, a powder with a slightly drier texture, not by much. When I say drier, in comparison to the creamier texture that exists in the Prada setting powder, that naturally is going to be more blurring in nature, because when you cut off the shine like that, your skin's just gonna appear more poreless. That's virtually what people use loose powder for, or pressed powder historically, is to cut down the shine and to blur the pores and the imperfection with that mattifying effect. And the Givenchy, just by nature of its formula, is going to have a greater blurring effect because it is acting more like a pressed powder. Despite how it presents itself to be kind of hybrid as well, when you combine mattifying and hydration at the same time, right? I consider that to be a hybrid achievement, if you will. Whereas the Prada is hybrid in terms of not only the texture itself, but also its performance, right? It feels like a cream in pan, but it applies like powder. It has like this balm-like texture. I think that's why I just simp for the Prada setting, because it is like applying a balm on my skin, but I'm left behind with smooth, soft focus, diffuse, poreless skin under the eyes, around the nose, on the rest of my face. But in my opinion, you will get more setting, more mattifying from the Givenchy, and a better color match. Listen, despite how genius it is that Prada managed to develop a mint color that they claim is universal and can be as universal as it can manage, you can't beat for nuanced color correcting in 7 different colorways. Like, you will have a better match. Maybe this is just based off assumption. Just based off assumption on the options available from the Givenchy. I think it's extraordinary that they managed to combine their 4-color science and present a powder in a hue that matches several skin tones, right? And the Givenchy 4-color correcting science has been a part of their brand, I think, for ages, probably ever since their release. That's their thing. The 4-color correcting loose powder is one of the best selling, to this day, loose powders ever sold, developed in the beauty industry. Hands down, like, when you think loose powder, you think Givenchy with the 4-color correcting loose powder. And they try to replicate that same approach when developing their loose blushes. By the way, was told that the loose powder and loose blushes were reformulated. I don't know when, because the loose blushes that I have don't contain shimmer, so I'm not entirely sure if I bought the ones that were not reformulated and the ones that are getting a new tune-up have yet to hit the shelves. Let me know down below. All that to say, I know, all this rambling, it really is up to you. It really is up to what you can withstand in terms of the fragrance, what you think is going to be the best color match for you and your skin tone and undertone, what you think is going to be the best finish for you. If you're super oily, I would just go with the Givenchy for security reasons, right? You might be taking a chance with the Prada. It might not be able to withstand your oily skin type and combat those breakthroughs throughout the day, and you might have to powder down. Now, that is up to you if you still insist on buying the Prada Reset because you just want to experience it. You don't care if your skin's oily. You're like, whatever. And you have another powder on standby for touch-ups throughout the day. For example, you apply the Prada Beauty in the morning, but you bring along another powder en route just for touch-ups. Is that excessive? Yes, but might not be surprised that there's someone out there calculating that routine. As opposed to Givenchy, you apply this in the morning and you will take this compact with you throughout the day for touch-ups if needed. If you're like me and have both, I use them interchangeably, right? And I think it's a great opportunity also to bounce back and forth, to use them each just to see what they offer, because it doesn't stop here, right? I use them with different foundations, with not just foundations, but with tints. How does it look like underneath a cream blush product? Today, after applying the Prada Beauty and the Givenchy, I applied Victoria Beckham Beauty's Cheeky Posh in mini skirt, and having that more mattifying finish on the skin before going in with a cream cheek product, I feel anchored the color down, and it's going to help with longevity and also have the color appear more even, because naturally when you apply a cream product over skin that doesn't look as pore heavy, when you apply something more dewy, it's just going to look more even and, again, soft focus and maybe a little radiant depending on, what you applied first as a foundation. Actually, I forgot to apply highlight. The Victoria Beckham highlighter or Reflect highlighter stick was a pleasant surprise. I think I'm mostly impressed by how glossy it is, but how soft the highlight appears. It almost is like the texture is glossy, but the finish is pearl. Does that make any sense? But I hope this video helped. If you have either pressed powder and you don't even use pressed powder, you're just here to hang out, well, I thank you, friend. Thank you for watching this video. If you have both on your radar and you're wondering, okay, what should I do for the next sale or whatever event rolls in? The Sephora sale event for spring just wrapped. Who knows what the next sale will be, whether it's brand specific. Who knows if Prada Beauty or Givenchy will hold their own sales on the website, or maybe Nordstrom will hold another beauty event. Whatever the case might be, I hope this video helped in trying to decide which pressed powder is best for you. Or maybe you're like myself and you have both because you're excessive and you just want all the setting powders. But more importantly, if your experience of either powder was total opposite of what I described in this video, let us know down below. Let us know if you are oily and the Prada Beauty is your godsend, or let us know if you're super dry and the Givenchy is a huge no-no and the Prada Beauty is a huge no-no too. They're both huge no-nos. Whatever your experience is, share down below, because I think the more perspective we receive, the different experiences, mentioning your skin condition, how you like your makeup to look, what your expectations were too, right? If you were like, I didn't think I was gonna like this product, but I adore it, or you had high expectations and you were just completely disappointed, all valid, all valid. Let us know down below. And if you made it this far, make sure you like this video by clicking the thumbs up. It helps tell the YouTube algorithm that I'm worth watching and worth to continue watching. And make sure you subscribe. Again, lots of content coming up, and you'll only know if you click that notification bell so you are alerted of those uploads. And up next, according to your votes, the YSL eyeshadow breakdown, how to use your mini clutch palette, is coming up next. And if you want to check out what I recently purchased from Sephora's sale, but what I purchased online, you could check out that video here. I'll make sure to see you in that video down in the comments for this video and on here again next time.